Hello everyone on the Film Record Connection. Today we will get to know the film Under Your Bed. Before starting the video, I ask you, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. For me, this is the best support. The film begins with the fact that the main character named Laptop is lying under the bed, clearly not at home. He watches the girl as she lives and goes about her usual business. Soon on this bed a girl and her husband. They begin to make love, the whole bed is shaking, and the girl makes loud noises, while she lies under the bed and enjoys the process. We are transported to the past to the hotel, a student in an ordinary school, he compares himself to insects and a worm under a stone, because no one ever notices him, everyone does not care about him so much that no one noticed that he never had a Mitsu in his school photo had friends, and he was not interesting. Absolutely all of you are his life, but at one of the lectures, the teacher asks the Laptop a question on the topic, he, not knowing the answer, just stands and timidly tries to squeeze something out of himself, but the girl behind him named Safiro Sasaki saves him, calls him by name and gives his notebook after the lesson. Naoto thanks her and invites her to a cup of tea, to which she agrees. They come together to a cafe, and she begins to talk cheerfully about her life, how many hobbies she has, and so on. Mitsui tells us that they are from completely different worlds. The girl notices that Mitsu is constantly silent. He understands that he needs to tell something, but he does not succeed. She saves the situation again and asks him about his hobby, to which he says that they breed guppies. She tells him that she also wants such fish, he offers her his and makes an appointment with her with an aquarium and fish. She has a house, he says that the thought of seeing her made her feel again. What is his happiness? We are transported to the future and the meter says 11 years ago. She called me by name, he is already 30 years old, and he still drinks only the coffee that Safiro advised him 11 years ago and hopes to hear how she will call him by name again. He is really obsessed with this girl and has tried to find her more than once, and one day he manages to find out where she lives. Tsuruo lives in a big house. Together with her husband, Mitsu decides to wait for her outside in the hope that she will recognize him when she passes by, but she just walks by. He also notices that she has changed a lot, and the smell of perfume is no longer Mitsu and decides to find out how she lives and why she has changed so much. He rents a room near her house and opens a fish shop there, and on the third floor he rents an apartment to live there. His name, he remembers the past. Again, as he comes to a scheduled meeting, she joyfully meets him and invites him in. Watching the fish, she accidentally touches his hand with her chest on the Ado, very excited. From this, she asks him to come to her, sometimes help take care of the fish. Returning to the present, we see that she begins to follow everything that happens in her house. He watches how she lives and what she does. She has a small child. And at one point, he watches her change clothes and take pictures of her naked, saying that now he can look at her naked whenever he wants. In the evening she has dinner with her husband, and everything goes well, until her husband starts beating and kicking her in the morning. She goes up to the house, looks at how she looks and notices a black eye. But this doesn't really matter, much more he cares about herself. He decides to give her flowers, leaving her at the door when her husband is not there. Every 10th of the month, but she throws them out. One day, Safiro comes to the store and wants to buy guppy fish, but realizing that she does not have enough money for equipment, she refuses this idea. But Naoto says that they will give her everything for free and will come to install when he comes to her house. He seizes the moment, steals the key and makes a mold. In the evening, the husband returns home and starts torturing his wife. Naoto hears all this through the lighter bug left behind. To him earlier, he begins to visit the house every day. When no one is at home, he cleans her aquarium and enjoys the smell. But one day she returned, when he had not yet had time to leave the house. He was hiding, and she did not notice him. He manages to leave the house and even meet the child. The next day, she again comes to the store for Mitsu fish food and invites you to drink your favorite coffee. After she left, he touches his lips there. Where were her lips a day later? He hides under the bed at her house, the husband rapes his wife, and the laptop just listens. Later, Tsuru's husband finds a note from a bouquet of flowers with wishes to be happy. He calls his wife to him and starts beating her, and then drags her to the bathroom and begins to punish Mitsu even more after water procedures and goes to her and helps to warm up. Waking up, she realizes that someone helped her. She begins to feel someone's presence in the house. She is here, and in the meantime she is sleeping, and we are returning again. The past, he goes to her to check the fish, but the sticker guy does not allow this and starts beating Mitsui first, and then her. But having plucked up the courage to do this, an impromptu shocker makes an improvised shocker from the equipment of the aquarium and cuts it down, after which he kicks the guys out of the house as well. In the evening, when they get poisoned, Hiro makes love. Remembering that day, he buys his own honey. The shocker decides to repeat this to her husband. In the evening she begs her husband to let her go and see her home. Dying father, to which he says that he will die anyway and does not allow her to go. She hits him in the face and says that he is a monster, and he starts beating her with more force. Before sticking a fork into his hand on the Edo, stands next to him behind a curtain and wants to help, but he cannot decide what the husband, having knocked out his wife's tooth, uses again and is not happy in the morning. She puts her child down and leaves for one rushing after her, but does not have time for them to be whole, completely despairing that she has lost her. Tells us what really happened. When he first came to her with an aquarium, she told him that she could not take the fish, and they would never again. They never saw each other. There was not everything that he thought up in his head about sex and their gatherings. This is me in reality. In anger, he tears off her photo and tears the clothes on the mannequin. Sefiro finds a bug in a lighter and asks if anyone can hear her. She understands that all this time someone really followed her. Her husband arrives, and he is angry as never before at home. He begins to beat her severely and, grabbing a knife, he says that he no longer needs her, he is going to kill her. Sefiro screams and asks for help from the one who was eavesdropping on her. From a second before the husband falls from the shock of the Mitsui stun gun. She saves. She wants to strangle her husband while it is possible, but the Mitsu stops her and does it for her. After we see how he testifies to the policeman and confesses to the murder, you understand that no matter what he does, she still won't remember him. They only drank coffee once, but Sefiro comes running and shouting his name, what he so desired to hear all this time, in order to feel happy. But he's not happy, he's crying because it's too late. This is where the movie ends. Well, how do you like him? Write your opinion in the comments and rate from 1 to 10. My opinion that I would rather have watched it in retelling than in full. The film is very controversial, many moments are simply disgusting, and you do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. For me, this is the best support. Also be sure to turn on the bell to be the first to watch new videos.